Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 246 based on novel. So let's start. Qing Shui's expression was still indifferent. He didn't look at Blood God, he was staring at the demonic figure that came out from Blood God's body, and his eyes became cold. His right eye flashed red, it was a scarlet red and gave off killing intent. With one step, Qing Shui charged out. The black mist in his hand suddenly expanded to 30 feet and flew toward Blood God. God Blood's face was ferocious as he pointed at the ancient lamp. He wasn't the only one that moved, the ancient demon also pointed at the ancient lamp. There was still a flame burning inside the ancient lamp. Not far away, Wang Lin's eyes were locked onto the ancient lamp from the moment it appeared. He could clearly see the shadow of a struggling woman at the heart of the ancient lamp. A sense of sadness seemed to spread from the flame. With a point of Blood God's finger, the fire inside the ancient lamp grew violently. Then the shadow of a large ancient demon suddenly burst forth from the ancient lamp. The ancient demon looked almost exactly the same as the demonic shadow around Blood God. However, the unimaginably powerful aura was far stronger than that of the demonic shadow around Blood God. It was like comparing a firefly and the bright moon. This is the real body. Wang Lin's eyes became cold and he was enlightened. The thing inside the ancient lamp was the ancient demon's real body. As for the things inside Blood God and Yao Yun, they were the ancient demon's clones. Blood God roared ferociously, God-devouring demonic flame. As he roared, the flame from the ancient lamp spread and the true body of the ancient demon charged out. At this moment, a large amount of demonic energy spread. Even the entire southern domain was shrouded in dense demonic energy. It was as if an ancient aura from primordial times had awakened among the stars. The demonic energy caused the origin energy of all the cultivators in the southern domain to become unstable. Some beasts on the cultivation planets became very excited and absorbed the demonic energy like crazy. As the ancient demon charged out its body became covered in flames. Its large claw reached toward Qing Shui. This claw contained an aura more powerful than law. All law disappeared before this claw. The flame around its body was an inextinguishable demonic flame that had burned for countless years and could burn anything in the world. Qing Shui's eyes revealed a serious expression as he rushed out and threw the black mist in his hand. At the same time, his right eye glowed red. He used the G realm without any hesitation. A ray of red lightning shot out from his eyes and charged out. The moment the G realm appeared, all the dust retreated and all creatures felt fear. At this moment, the demonic energy immediately collapsed and dissipated before this power. It was as if the demonic energy was nothing before the G realm. The red lightning carried a terrifying aura and contained all the slaughter in Qing Shui's life. It created a storm that moved extremely fast toward the demon that came out from the ancient lamp. The ancient demon's eyes revealed an expression of shock. It didn't flinch as it reached out and grabbed the G realm. At this moment, a thunderous roar began to echo. The ancient demon's right claw immediately collapsed when the G realm entered its body. This collapse didn't stop at the claw and spread across the ancient demon's body. In an instant, the entire ancient demon's body collapsed. However, the moment the ancient demon collapsed, the flame inside the ancient lamp burned intensely and the shadow of the ancient demon condensed once more. Although it was fainter than before, there was a red light flashing between its eyebrows. If one looked closely, one would see that the red light was the G realm. All the spells in this world originated from my ancient demon clan. Only this one, which contains a trace of the heaven's power, doesn't belong to my ancient demon clan. However, this power now belongs to me. An ancient voice echoed among the stars. The ancient demon's eyes gave off a demonic glow. The red light between its eyebrows flashed and shot out a ray of lightning toward Qing Shui. However, the moment the red lightning appeared, it collapsed from a stare by Qing Shui. The shockwave created by the collapse quickly spread. Qing Shui's expression was cold as he raised his hand and calmly said, "Shu Mu, look closely, this is Master's fourth spell, Mountains Crumble." The ancient demon's eyes were filled with demonic energy as it quickly retreated and grabbed Blood God. It immediately entered Blood God's body, causing cries of pain to come from Blood God's mouth. The veins on Blood God's face bulged, making him reveal a painful expression. It was as if he was experiencing heart-wrenching pain. His hair moved without wind and quickly extended. Then two illusionary horns appeared on his head. At the same time, a green light covered his body. Now he no longer looked human and looked like an ancient demon. Dense demonic energy came from his body. Blood God's eyes no longer had focus, only a demonic glow. He let out a roar and charged at Qing Shui. Qing Shui's expression was serious and his right eye gave off an intense, red glow. Just as he was about to attack, his expression changed and he suddenly looked up. Even Wang Lin immediately raised his head. He vaguely felt origin source energy from above. This energy wasn't strong, but Wang Lin had a feeling that just one thought from this aura was enough for him to disintegrate into origin energy. This is the third step. Wang Lin's expression changed greatly. Even Blood God, who had gone mad, instantly raised his head at this moment, and his expression changed. Enough, a calm voice slowly appeared from the stars. Then a figure formed by countless rays of starlight appeared between Qing Shui and Blood God. The moment the illusory figure appeared, he raised his hand and randomly waved at Blood God. Blood God immediately coughed out a large mouthful of blood and the ancient demon was knocked out of Blood God's body. The ancient demon's face was filled with shock as he stared at the illusory figure. Ancient demon, I don't mind you borrowing the Yao family to restore your body, I don't care. However, if you cause a slaughter in the All-Heaven star system and affect the battle against the Alliance star system, then I don't mind extinguishing your inextinguishable demonic flame. This person's voice was calm, but it contained an aura that could shock one's heart. At this moment, Wang Lin felt like he had gone back 1,000 years. He was experiencing the feeling of looking at a cultivator when he was still a mortal. Powerful. Incredibly powerful. Unable to resist, cannot resist, even unyielding thoughts must be completely extinguished. When you hear this sentence, you must obey. Celestial Lord Qing Shui, the celestial realm has shattered, and this is the All-Heaven star system. The illusory figure turned around and looked at Qing Shui. This gaze was like the gaze of Tao. It had no power, but it caused a series of rumbles around Qing Shui. It was as if even the heavens had to succumb to this voice. It wouldn't allow any resistance. Qing Shui's eyes were still cold as he stared at the illusory figure. After a long time, he let out a cold snort and didn't speak. The illusory shadow was blurry and it was impossible to clearly see the figure's appearance. After he spoke, he stretched his arm and a crystal light filled the area. As Wang Lin's pupils shrank, the surrounding collapsed space quickly gathered and was restored back to normal. Not only that, as the crystal light gradually left, all the destruction that had occurred in the southern domain was reversed. Even the demonic energy absorbed by some of the beasts on some cultivation planets silently dissipated. If the two of you continue to fight, I'll kill you both. After leaving those calm words, the crystal light dissipated as if nothing had happened at all. However, those last words could cause any creature to feel frightened. Only a portion of that person's killing intent was released, yet it was enough for the world to change colors. If all of it was released, then the stars would no longer exist. Blood God silently pondered for a moment before grabbing the ancient lamp. He didn't even look at Qing Shui as he merged with the world and disappeared. Qing Shui and Wang Lin were the only two people remaining. Wang Lin still hadn't recovered from the shock. This shock was something he could never forget. Wang Lin was very certain that the illusory shadow was a third-step cultivator. That person had appeared without the slightest fluctuation, and the feeling of terror from his soul was so powerful that it wasn't dissipating at all. It was as if he would only need one thought to cause the entire southern domain to collapse. Wang Lin closed his eyes. After a long time, he suppressed the shock in his heart, clasped his hands toward Qing Shui, and said, "Thank you. I'll forever remember that senior saved me." Qing Shui's eyes looked at the distant stars and his eyes were filled with melancholy. After a long time, the melancholy dissipated before he looked at Wang Lin and calmly said, "Don't thank me. I don't care how you learned Call the Wind, but since you learned it, you are a cross-generation disciple of my master. I, Qing Shui, don't have any ties in this system. Meeting you was my master's arrangement. You haven't formed your celestial origin yet, and without the celestial pool, you can't form your celestial origin. Now with the Thunder Celestial Temple 108 Celestial Title Competition, the 36 Heaven Celestials have the right to access the celestial pool. You should go fight for it. If you can succeed, then I'll teach you Summon the Rain and Magical Arsenal. If not, then you have no fate with these two celestial spells. I've saved you once, and that could be considered me fulfilling the karma you had with Master. Do your best. Qing Shui looked at Wang Lin. After hesitating a bit, he raised his right hand and reached toward the void. A crystal clear drop of ice crystal formed and floated before Wang Lin. This object contains 3 uses of Summon the Rain. Use it to protect yourself. Qing Shui turned around, walked toward the void, and slowly disappeared. The moment before he disappeared, the melancholy in his eyes became even stronger, and he murmured, "That person is stronger than Master. However, he gives off a familiar feeling. I must have seen him before." Wang Lin looked at Qing Shui's leaving figure and silently pondered for a long time before he clasped his hands at that direction. He grabbed the ice crystal and then disappeared without a trace. That person must be a third-step cultivator. There is such an incredible cultivator in the All-Heaven Star system. Wang Lin quickly headed to where Li Yuan's family was. I just don't know if there is a third-step cultivator in the Alliance Star system. This person is too strong, even Nirvana Shatterer cultivator wouldn't be able to resist. Wang Lin's figure moved through the stars and his eyes shined. However, I had seen the direction to the third step from the heaven-defying bead. Wang Lin's eyes shined even more as he moved through space using spatial bending. There was a cultivation planet in a remote system in the southern domain. This planet was named Annihilation. A long time ago, not only was it famous in the southern domain, it was also famous across the All-Heaven Star system. The family with restrictions inherited from ancient times, the Li family. With mastery of the Annihilation restriction, the Li family was extremely powerful and their name once shook the All-Heaven Star system. However, with the decline of the family and the Annihilation restriction leaking out, the Li family fell from power. Not any of the Li family's glory was left. The memories were buried and no longer shined. As the Li family withered, even people's memories of it became blurry. It was as if it no longer existed. Planet Annihilation had become uninhabited. No cultivators came here. If not for the countless restrictions left by the Li family, they wouldn't have even been able to keep Planet Annihilation. Inside the Li family home on Planet Annihilation, Li Yuan stood staring into the distance. "Brother Shu. It's not that I don't want to help you with the Yao family hunting you, it's that I can't do anything." Li Yuan's face was bitter. He was willing to help, but with his cultivation level, not only would he be of no help, he would actually become a burden. He was very grateful toward Shumu for what happened in the Thunder Celestial Realm, especially the fact that Shumu had sent him out and stayed behind. After letting out a sigh, Li Yuan stood up and walked out of the room. He stared at the sky and everything that happened in the Thunder Celestial Realm flashed through his head. "Brother Shu, if you could come, I would teach the Annihilation restriction heart to you without reservation." As Li Yuan mumbled, his eyes suddenly widened. He looked up at the sky and his eyes became filled with shock. A ripple appeared in the sky and began to spread. It was as if the sky had become a pool of water. Wang Lin's figure walked out from the ripple. He floated in the air and immediately saw Li Yuan. He smiled and took a step forward. Inside the Li family ancestral hall, there was a black pool. Wang Lin and Li Yuan were sitting in the pool of water, and cold aura was coming out from a whirlpool inside the pool. However, this whirlpool was very weak. As it circled the two of them, it created ripples. While Li Yun had his eyes closed, a black light came out from between his eyebrows. The light turned into black lines that entered the pool. The moment these black lines touched the pool, it was like dragons entering the sea, causing even bigger ripples to appear. Wang Lin was sitting opposite of Li Yuan. The two of them had cultivated here for 3 days. Wang Lin had arrived 3 days ago and caught up with Li Yun. Then Li Yun invited Wang Lin here to inherit the Annihilation Restriction Heart. Only with the Restriction Heart could the Annihilation Restriction display its true power. However, the inheritance of the Restriction Heart could only be done at the Li family ancestral hall. The black lines that came from Li Yuan entered the pool and dissipated as if they had become part of the pool. At the same time, the black water gathered near Wang Lin and eventually condensed between his brows. As time slowly passed, Li Yuan began to reveal an exhausted expression. The inheritance of the Restriction Heart was usually done by the ancestor when they were close to death. Right now, in order to repay Wang Lin, he didn't hesitate to split half of the Restriction Heart and give it to Wang Lin. On the 5th day, Li Yuan looked a lot older. It was as if these 5 days had been 50 years. The black light between his eyebrows had dimmed a lot and was very weak as more than half of it had entered the pool. The whirlpool inside the pool became even more intense. As it continued to rotate, it gradually grew into a storm. Li Yuan dragged his tired body out from the pool and sat down. He looked at Wang Lin inside the water and muttered, "Brother Shu, I have repaid your kindness." He closed his bloodshot eyes. His entire body was filled with weariness and he began to cultivate. In order to repay Wang Lin, he had given too much. Giving out a large portion of his Restriction Heart had caused his restriction skill to drop by a lot. While Wang Lin was sitting inside the pool of water, the whirlpool became even more intense. On the 6th day, a storm formed, causing the water to rise and surround Wang Lin. A cold energy spread, causing frost to appear and some of the pool to freeze. While he was under the constantly rotating black water, black lines entered between Wang Lin's eyebrows, forming complex flower pattern and was branded layer by layer. At this moment, Wang Lin seemed to enter a very mysterious state. Everything about the Annihilation Restriction appeared in his mind and began to compare and fuse with his previous knowledge of restrictions. As the black lines branded him, the various mysteries of restrictions became more profound in his heart. On the 9th day, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes and the black whirlpool around him suddenly collapsed. Water scattered in all directions, followed by a burst of cold energy. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a mysterious light and countless restrictions flashed across his eyes. It was as if he could see through all the restrictions in the world. He raised his right hand and pointed. All the black water that had scattered trembled and condensed inside his palm into a black ball. The ball gave off a black glow and a cold aura. It seemed to shroud the entire hall in a cold aura. While staring at the black ball, Wang Lin closed his eyes. A moment later, he opened his eyes and slapped his bag of holding. A large amount of soil flew out. This soil was collected by him in the Thunder Celestial Realm under Li Yuan's guidance. Wang Lin waved his hand and all the soil went inside the black ball. The black ball gradually solidified. At the same time, Wang Lin spat out a mouthful of essence origin energy. When it touched the black ball, it glowed brightly. The black ball gradually shrank and changed shape before Wang Lin's eyes until it was an octagonal compass. Every generation of Annihilation Restriction descendant must have their own heart restriction compass. Congratulations, Brother Shu. Li Yun opened his weary eyes and smiled. It was a very sincere smile with no facade. The compass inside Wang Lin's hand entered his palm. It moved through his body and flashed between his eyebrows before disappearing. Wang Lin stepped next to Li Yuan and clasped his hands. "Many thanks, Brother Li." Li Yuan faintly smiled and shook his head. "No need to be like this, Brother Shu. You are my Li family's benefactor, so it is natural for me to do this. What does Brother Shu plan to do next?" Wang Lin pondered. Many days ago, when he arrived on planet Annihilation and met Li Yuan, he had heard many things from Li Yuan. He even found out about his title of Master Demon. Thinking about what Li Yuan said, that the Thunder Celestial Temple's 108 Celestials battle would use the 4 domains as the arena, Wang Lin's heart was filled with determination. Not only for the 2 great celestial spells mentioned by Qing Shui but also the promise from the Xiong family from planet Dong Lin. The 36 heaven celestials would receive a promise from the Thunder Celestial Temple and the 2 cultivation families with inheritances from ancient times. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he asked, "Is Brother Li interested in fighting for one of the 108 celestial titles?" Li Yuan pondered. After a long time, he wryly smiled. "It would be useless to go with my current cultivation level. I'm preparing to go into closed-door cultivation to break through to the illusory yin stage." Li Yuan's eyes were filled with determination as he spoke. He must strive for a breakthrough no matter what to bring glory back to his family. Wang Lin nodded and calmly said, "With Brother Li's talent, a breakthrough is only a matter of time." He pondered for a bit before he hit his bag and took out a piece of jade. Then he engraved the Thunder Origin spell inside. "Brother Li, there is a cultivation method inside this jade. If you carefully cultivate it, then the chance of you having a breakthrough will increase by a lot." Li Yun took the jade. After taking a closer look, he was shocked. Although his Li family had inheritances from ancient times, a lot of them were lost. The only thing they had left was the annihilation restriction. In fact, they were now inferior to a common cultivation family. Although the Thunder Origin spell from the Thunder Celestial Temple wasn't precious, it was still rare. He nodded and said, "Brother Shu, I won't bother saying thanks, since it's just the 2 of us. If one day I have a breakthrough, I'll find you. The 2 of us can wander the stars like 2 celestials. It will be a joyous occasion." Wang Lin smiled and said, "Brother Li, goodbye." With that, he took a step forward. Ripples appeared under his feet and he disappeared. Thunder Celestial Temple was going to grant 108 celestial titles. The 4 domains were going to become an arena for a fierce competition. This is the first time celestial titles were given since the celestial realm collapsed. There was also Celestial Lord Qing Shui, who would teach celestial spells. In addition, there was the promise from the 2 ancient families and the mysterious family from primal times giving the right to use the celestial pool. All of this had pushed the celestial title competition to a peak. They were using the celestial title competition to bring the battle intent of the entire All-Heaven star system to its peak before the battle against the Alliance star system. Countless cultivation families from all 4 domains would send out people to the designated arenas. Then, with a messenger of the Thunder Celestial Temple as judge, 108 people will be chosen from each domain to be sent to the Thunder Celestial Temple for the final competition. Southern Domain, one of the 3 main planets, Planet Earth Flame. The space thousands of kilometers away from the planet was enveloped in a bright light. Thousands of kilometers away was an area filled with countless cultivators. The battlefield for the Southern Domain was here. Thousands of kilometers away, there were countless blue stones floating. There was a person or several sitting on each stone. The blue stones were spread across the area. The blue stones were prepared by the Southern Domain for all the people who wanted to watch the competition. Right now there were no less than tens of thousands of cultivators spread among the blue stones. Their cultivation levels varied a lot, though most of them were cultivators at the first step. Aside from accompanying their family members who came for the competition, they also came to broaden their views by seeing some celestial spells. There were a lot of red stones among the countless blue stones, and each cultivator who sat on one had shining eyes filled with battle intent. These were the people who obtained the right to fight for the celestial title in the Southern Domain. There were about 300 to 400 red stones. The 108 people who would have the right to go to the Thunder Celestial Temple would be chosen from them. At this moment, within the battlefield that was thousands of kilometers wide, 2 cultivators were fighting. Various spells filled the area, and the 2 sides were evenly matched. All the viewers watched closely, especially those that would battle next. They watched even more intently. Of course, there were cultivators that only took one glance and withdrew their gaze. It was obvious that this kind of battle couldn't catch their interest. Zhong Konglai was one of them. The Zhong family was a large family. Zhong Konglai was the best junior of the Zhong family. His family's requirements for him was to obtain top 10 in the Southern Domain competition. Top 10. If nothing goes wrong, then it's in the bag. Zhong Konglai's fierce gaze swept the area and landed on a red stone. On that red stone sat Shengong who had his eyes closed. He seemed to notice Sean Conley's gaze and opened his eyes. The two of them smiled at each other and withdrew their gazes. When Shengong withdrew his gaze, he looked into the distance with a bleak expression. He originally wanted to help his lord when he found out that the Yao family was hunting him. However, the Shengong family ancestor personally came out to stop him. Although Shengong was unwilling, he eventually had to yield. However, he couldn't help but sneer. The Yao family was really seeking their own death by provoking his lord. Although, the matter that occurred later was outside of Shengong's expectations. His lord repeatedly counterattacked the Yao family, killed a lot of cultivators, and obtained the title of Master Demon. In the end, an earth-shaking battle in the northern domain made the name, Shumu, echo throughout the all-heaven star system. Although all of this appeared illustrious on the surface, it was very different from the impression Shengong had. He was very silent for a long time, recalling everything from before, and his heart felt bitter. With Shengong's intelligence, he had his speculations. I'm afraid that Shumu is not as strong as I imagined. I fear his cultivation level is lower than mine. No matter how diligent he has been in increasing his cultivation, at most he is at peak corporeal yang like me. Alas! Shengong's heart felt very complex as he withdrew his gaze from the void. Sean Conley's heart was also very complex along with Shengong. He was as smart as Shengong, and when news of Wang Lin being hunted by the Yao family reached him, he gradually realized the truth. His heart was also filled with bitterness. Shumu. Alas, I didn't expect even I, John Conley, to have a day where I'm deceived. It isn't that I couldn't see through his cultivation, it was that there was nothing to see through, that was simply his cultivation level. He must have had a fortunate encounter to reach the corporeal yang in the Thunder Celestial Realm and was not hiding his cultivation like I had thought. Even now this person must still be at the corporeal yang stage. I was wrong about him. Sean Conley let out a sigh and was filled with disappointment. Sean Yun was sitting on a blue stone behind Sean Conley. When she saw him frown, she let out a sigh. She understood very well that her cousin thought about Senior. During this period of time, Senior's name had become famous in the all-heaven star system. Every time she remembered what happened in the Thunder Celestial Realm, she would feel shock. If it wasn't for Senior taking the lead, she would have already died. There was another red stone with Tang Yangfeng sitting on top. He saw this and let out a cold snort but didn't speak. Zhong Conley, Shengong and Tang Yangfeng were famous in the southern domain. They were named the three calamities of the southern domain. Aside from the viewers from the various cultivation families, there were also several people here responsible for managing the battles. 3 of them came from the Thunder Celestial Temple. 2 of the 3 wore green robes and their eyes were cold as they watched everything. One of them was very old and wore a purple robe. He had his eyes closed as if he didn't care about anything that occurred before him. The 2 green-robed messengers of the Thunder Celestial Temple were extremely respectful to the purple-robed elder. Even the surrounding ancestors of the southern domain were very respectful to him. Aside from the 3 of them, there were also various ancestors of the cultivations families in the southern domain. These people were sitting on white stones. There were very few white stones, less than 10, but each person sitting on them was very famous. However, the Shengong family ancestor and Lai Yunzi were not here. The battle inside the arena was gradually coming to an end. The 2 cultivation families involved all carefully looked at the battlefield. A moment later, one of the fighters' body shivered as the spell hit his body. His face turned pale and blood came out from the corner of his mouth. When he saw his opponent chasing after him, he let out a sigh and said, "I admit defeat." A laugh came from the person pursuing him. He turned around and gave up his pursuit. A shadow appeared inside the arena. It was one of the green-robed Thunder Celestial Temple messengers. He appeared with a flash of thunder as he swept the arena and calmly said, "Li Yi wins." Just as the battle occurred outside of planet Earth Flame, Wang Lin's figure appeared in the void hundreds of thousands of kilometers away. His eyes were cold as he looked into the distance. Li Yuan said that the Southern Domain's competition was set to be held at planet Earth Flame. Every participant needs a qualification token from the southern domain to participate. If one has no token, he is not allowed to enter, and once it starts, the area within 100,000 kilometers will be sealed. If you're late, you aren't allowed to enter. Wang Lin let out a cold snort and took a step forward. Ripples appeared under his feet, and after a second step, he disappeared. Within 100,000 kilometers of planet Earth flame, there were cultivators sitting at 10,000-kilometer intervals. They formed rings that surrounding planet Earth flame and prevented outsiders from entering. Strands of spiritual energy came out from them, and they were tightly connected, forming a network. The moment one person's position changed, it would be immediately perceived by the others. Meng Lin was currently sitting among the stars with anger dwelling in his heart. He was someone from the Meng family from planet Earth flame. He wanted to take this chance to observe celestial spells used during the competition. However, he was sent all the way out here, so he was very angry. Thinking about how his peers were rejoicing in his misfortune when they found out he was sent to guard here, he became more gloomy and couldn't calm himself down to cultivate no matter what. If I could see the various celestial spells used in this celestial title competition, especially those of their calamities of the southern domain, it would greatly benefit my cultivation. Alas! Meng Lin let out a dark sigh. His was only at the late stage of soul transformation and wasn't able to take the final step into the ascendant stage. Then his pupils suddenly shrank as he stared straight ahead. A ripple suddenly appeared 1,000 feet away from Meng Lin. As the ripple spread, a person walked out. This person wore white and his black hair moved without any wind. In particular, this person's eyes were exceptionally brilliant. The moment Meng Lin met those eyes, he felt as if countless bolts of thunder had exploded in his mind. His origin soul nearly collapsed and his spiritual energy leaked directly out of his body. At this moment, he lost consciousness. Wang Lin's figure flickered and walked past Meng Lin. It wasn't until Wang Lin was far away that Meng Lin regained his senses. He was filled with confusion as he looked back but saw nothing. Strange, why did I just enter a trance? Meng Lin scratched his head and couldn't think of a reason. After letting out a sigh, he began to cultivate. Strangely, this time he was successful and sank into cultivation after a short period of time. This video will end here.